All right, welcome back to the RetroCult Podcast. I'm Chuck. Mack is with me today. Mack, what's been going on, man?
Oh, not a lot. It's been a up and down week this week. We were talking about the winter weather we got last week, and then we had a plumbing issue here at my house this week that kind of derailed our plans to go to the North Carolina Comic Con this today, as a matter of fact, on Saturday. But then it turned out that got rescheduled because another winter storm has hit us. I'm sitting in my den right now, and we have about, last time we went out and measured, we've got about 7 inches of snow on the ground
That's
here.
I think that's probably pretty close to us. I know I talked to some of my teammates over in Davidson County, and they're like up over 10 inches of snow, which is just wild.
It's still snowing out there. Last time I took the dog out, it was still coming down. They're saying it could keep going till midnight, maybe. So it wouldn't surprise me if we top 10 inches before it's all said and done. But because of that, I hate this. Let's always look on the positive side. But because of that, I haven't missed the North Carolina Comic Con because it's been rescheduled for February the 28th. So that is back on the calendar now. So we're going to plan for a road trip.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited that it got snowed out and they were able to reschedule that. I didn't know how easy that would be. I know these comic dealers have their schedules pretty booked in advance as far as things go, and they're all over the place because that's what they do. So I was afraid they might just cancel it altogether. But knowing that we just have to wait, like basically another month here to before we go to it. This gives me something to look forward to, and I'm pretty excited about that trip, man. I think that's going to be fun. There's a lot
Yeah.
of fun stuff we have planned.
Yeah, because we're not just doing the con either. Because like we always kind of do, we're going to find new and unfamiliar used bookstores, antique malls, anything between here and there, and on the way back. And so, yeah, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of stuff going on. I'm just very thankful that and after the unexpected expense of another plumbing visit within a week, I happy to say everything's flowing normally, and this gives me a little bit of time to, I don't know, refresh the bank account too before we go.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I don't think that you hear a lot. I know, like I don't think I've ever cut on Pixel Dan or Froggy Flips or any of those guys like that go out and hunt toys all the time. I don't think I've ever had them really say anything about how real life can really affect how much you get to go out and do things. And I'm sure they do. I mean, I know Froggy had the really cool video that showed that he's not always finding things. I thought
Yep.
that was an awesome video.
Yeah, I love the
But
kind of behind the scenes stuff like that too, because those we both love those kind of videos. I was just watching a few of those earlier today, and if you're just watching those videos, it can seem like, oh man, how did these guys go out? And every time they go out, they find the best stuff. And it helps sometimes for them to go behind and go, look, no, I might shoot for weeks and not get anything cool. And then of course, you know, I'm sure, like anybody, they all have families, they all have houses, they all have. There are times when it's just like, I just can't do it this week because unexpected car repair, unexpected, house maintenance, anything like that. Things just happen and they get in the way. And if it is nice sometimes, I think, to hear these creators sometimes go, "Hey, look, it's not all, sunshine and roses every day that I go to the flea market."
yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, I've hit like a pretty long dry spell of finding like really really good things. I mean, I've picked up some okay stuff, but I haven't hit a big score in a while. So I think that's why I was so excited to go out this weekend. I just had it in my mind that we were going to find some really cool stuff. But then, like you said, weather and life gets in the way.
Yeah, and I haven't actually had a chance to really do uh, any good toy hunting since probably before Christmas, other than the finds that you turned me onto at a local place. You know, we talked about that last week with the Space 1999 toys that you found at King Antique Mall. You know, that's right, and that's almost in my backyard. So it does that was a good find, but yeah, I just haven't had a chance since before Christmas just because of work and getting back in the swing of things after the holidays because taking actual time off and everything else, just taking it easy. And so I'm hoping that in February I'm going to kind of get back in the swing of at least being able to try to hit some places on a regular basis again. But I am very excited for Comic Con because it's in the Charlotte area. Lots of cool stuff around there. Lots of vintage toy stores that we visited in the past that we haven't been to in a long time. So I'm excited. I'm very excited about that. But in another way, it's keeping my powder dry, waiting for those amazing finds because I can be the worst about getting excited about something when I first see it, and I need to learn more impulse control so I don't immediately grab that thing and buy it. And then then I can be at home going, do I really like it that much?
I mean, you know me, like
You're
we've gone
much
out enough.
better at impulse control than I am.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of the times that I get home and it's like, man, I should not have talked myself out of that. So we got to find a happy medium in the middle
Yes,
there.
yeah, we do.
Because I'm really bad about just thinking and thinking and thinking and waiting and then not doing anything. And then when I get home, I'm like, man, I probably should have done that. So yeah, I think if we could find that middle spot, we would probably be all right.
Yeah, yeah, what I'm trying to do, especially now that we're actually stuck in the house for a while, is I am getting back to organizing my collection. You know, right around Christmas time, over the holidays, I spent quite a bit of time starting to organize my toy collection. Still, that's a work in progress. Um, Getting my comic collection organized. So I'm going to be spending some time, while I'm at home, not going anywhere, to do that. And I may use that opportunity to do. Pixel Dan has used this term before, where he says where he's recently started going into his basement where he's got a lot of storage boxes full of toys, and he calls it shopping your collection. And so that's kind of what I'm going to start doing, is maybe trying to do some video content just based on stuff I already have in the collection that it's either been in a box or it might even be on display, but I've just never done a video about it. Or so I think I might try to use that philosophy and start doing a little more shopping my own collection because I know I have some really cool stuff that I would love to share with our viewers. I think people are would would get some enjoyment out of it. And as a matter of fact, one video I've been sitting on for a long time is we found a huge collection of, well, not a collection, but a huge stash of like pulp paperbacks from the 60s and the 50s in the free bins at McKay's. And we just loaded up a little shopping box full of them that were all just free. And so I've been meaning to do a quick video just kind of showing what we found there. And there's so much stuff. It's not all necessarily stuff I collect. Like there is sci-fi in there. There's some fantasy, but there are some but they're all mass market paperbacks. There are some of them are like just space related, like the moon race, the early space race. That stuff fascinates me. You know me, I love a good rocket, and
Oh yeah.
but there are a bunch of those. So they're actually real histories of that time period. A lot of romance. So Laura was really into those. So even though it's not necessarily stuff I would necessarily have picked out for me, she likes it, or I wouldn't normally share it on the channel because it's not necessarily pop culture related. I'm still going to do it because I think there might be people that are interested. And I actually just love that medium. I love the medium of the mass market paperback. I kind of have hated to see it kind of be on the wane over the last couple of years because everything seems to be what people are calling trophy books now. That seems to be the big thing. All these expensive hardcovers with the gilded edges and all that that all cost like $100. I'm like, no, no, no. I just want to like inexpensive paperback that I can read, and carry around. It doesn't take up a lot of room. And I'm glad to see those. I think those are kind of making a comeback. Last time we were at Barnes and Noble, they have a literal it wasn't a spinner rack, but it was a four-sided rack just for mass market science fiction and fantasy. And I was like, all right, that's what I want to see. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, I mean it is fun to see. I mean, me being in the school setting, I get to see a lot more of those paperbacks when they have the Scholastic sales and those
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
things. So I'm kind of fortunate that those haven't completely gone away.
I've got
You
to say,
know,
I miss the Scholastic book sales. I just want to say, as a teacher, that's one. I think one great benefit that you get is you should. Do they still print off the Scholastic? The little paper catalogs they used to give to all of us kids in
yes,
school.
I'll
They're
I'll
like
I'll
three or
get you
four page.
some.
Get me one. Yeah, I want one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as it comes back around, I'll make sure to bring you and Laura one because yeah, they still do that, and it's funny, man. Like as soon as you hand those out, the kids are breaking out markers and circling books and talking. They get so excited about going in there and looking for books, and I do. I still enjoy going in and walking around and looking at all the books.
I do too.
As an adult, I do see the trap that they put the kids in, where they put all those silly pencils and erasers and rulers and basically useless toys at the cash register to get more money out of them. And I feel like the kids are missing out on buying more books as they spend so much money on these like
Right.
useless erasers that are shaped like calculators and stuff that don't erase anything. They just make it. They just smudge everything, and or they smell like chocolate or whatever, and they're just useless. But I mean, it. I get it as a kid. That money burns a hole in your pocket.
That brings up, if I could just do a little aside for a minute, erasers that smell like chocolate. I've told Laura this more than once whenever we go to Target or Walmart and I see the food scented slime that seems to be a popular thing with kids now. I'm like, I think we're going down a bad path here, training kids that this slime that looks and smells like food, they're going to start eating it. They just are. I mean, they were eating Tide Pods not that long ago. Well, now it actually smells like food. This is just a bad idea. I'm sorry. I'm getting off my soapbox now, but that is just a bad idea.
That's they'll eat anything, man. They're pretty wild. I watched a kid in line the other day that was licking the bottom of his Crocs.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I told my teammates, I'm like, you got to turn around. I was like, I don't even want to yell at him. I was like, you've got to watch this kid. I was like, he's gonna take his Croc off and lick the bottom of it. And he looks around, nobody's watching. He slides his Croc off and he slowly pulls it up and he licks it. And they're like, oh my gosh. And then the one teacher couldn't take it, so she got up and went over there and yelled at him. And I just laughed. I was like, that's
Yeah, well, I
disgusting.
mean, we ate. I mean, I have eaten my share of Elmer's glue. I will say that, and so I'll freely admit that. But that's kind of my point. Is I'm like, how much worse would it have been if the Elmer's glue smelled like chocolate?
Oh, hey, I got bad news. I got horrible news for you. They have this Elmer glue. It's in a stick, but they're all scented like strawberry and watermelon and
Oh,
apple.
oh
And
my.
I opened up, I had to get glue out, and it was just a pack that some parents had sent in, but it was all the scented glues. And I was like, oh no. So I put it out because we were gluing stuff in our projects. And sure enough, like all throughout the day, Mr. B, so and so's licking the strawberry. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
like that's
yeah,
so gross. And you don't know who had it the last class.
yeah, yeah. These are these are things. These companies should be. This is not a good idea. This is just not a good idea. But at
It's
least that
fun.
kind of stuff, I'm sure it's non-toxic. So at least we got
It's
that going.
well, it says it's all non toxic, but I guess we never know.
We
You
never
never
know.
know.
That
Yeah. Well,
But anyway, yeah, I love the Scholastic book fairs, but I'm with you. I always wanted to spend maximum amount of money on books, not because they used to do that with us too. I mean, I remember, they always had the bookmarks that cost a little, and I'm like, a bookmark should be free. Now they did have the free ones. I will say that they had the free ones, which were always advertising another Scholastic thing, but they also had the ones you could buy that were thicker, and they were usually pop culture related for the day. And I guess I'm just lucky they didn't really they didn't have any superhero ones that I remember, or I'm sure I would have fallen for that trick too. But I still actually have some Scholastic books that I actually bought as a kid in my elementary school. The one I love the most is I actually have a Spider-Man activity book, um, and I did a couple of them, but I didn't even. It's like I started doing some of the activities, and then I think I might even say, because that would have been around fifth grade. Maybe that's where my collecting urge really kicked in. Because I swear I stopped doing the things because I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to mess it. I want to keep this pristine, which is the exact opposite of an activity book. I should have enjoyed it, but I do enjoy it looking at it today.
Yeah, those things are a lot of fun, man. Well, listen, not to get off the books and stuff, man, but just scrolling Instagram and I came across that Jerry Anderson
Hmm.
Instagram page that linked to his webpage that had
Oh
all
yeah,
the Space 1999 and the other programs. What else was on there? The
Thunderbirds, Captain
Stingray.
Scarlet, yeah,
Yeah, there was so
Stingray.
much stuff, man, and it was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And then I find these like free character sheets for, I guess they have like a Dungeons and Dragons type game. Maybe they're selling,
Yep. It's for a
and
role
then
playing game. Yeah, they have a Space
yeah,
1999 role playing game. And actually, I believe the downloadable PDF version of the rule book is also free.
wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's you would have to have like a really like niche friend group to be able to sit down and play that. I just can't imagine that. Just you know what I mean? Like who? Like if you had to pick friends, do you have friends that you know would come over and would be able to get into the characters? And I don't know that many people. I don't even know if it was A Team or if it was any of my favorite shows other than maybe He Man. I don't know that I would be able to find people that enough people to get together to play a game like that.
Well, I used to have, back in the day when I was in college and then through, Rocket Comics and all of that, we played Dungeons. We had a pretty regular gaming group that we played Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun, and we played one or two others that I think have come and gone, but our core ones were Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition and um, Shadowrun. Shadowrun was a blast too. But yeah, I don't know that nowadays I still have some friends of mine who want me to play Dungeons and Dragons because they have an online group that they play. That's one of those things where I loved it back in the day. I know Logan still. I don't know whether he still plays a lot, but I know he had a pretty consistent group playing Dungeons and Dragons and then Pathfinder. Um, I don't know. I'm with you. I don't think I know enough people who would be interested in playing a Space 1999 role playing game. I would, I might be able to rope you into it, but I think that's about it. But I do love the fact that they are trying it, that they're doing it, because I've actually one other thing I noticed was that I believe back in the day, Mayfair Games, I believe, was the company that did the Star Wars role playing game, and I saw where they're re-releasing the I believe first edition Star Wars role playing game. They're releasing it like an anniversary edition
So
because
what was that? I'd have to go back and look through my pictures, but I know I'm going to scroll through our text real quick. Back when I went to that bookstore, I sent you a picture of um, a Star Wars role playing kit, And I'm trying to like go back. It shouldn't be that far back because it hasn't been that long that I found that when I was there. Maybe I did. I not send that to you? Could have swore I sent. Yeah, there it is. Star Wars, the role playing game. It's got like
Yeah,
the 30th anniversary edition.
yeah.
So yeah, that it seemed awesome. I mean, I think it was priced fairly. It just wasn't something that I thought I would like bother you about.
No, that's actually, and I think that's it. That's the one I'm talking about, the
Okay.
anniversary edition. Yeah, that they where they that was originally published back in like 1985 or 6, and I think that's when the first edition of the role playing game came out. And so they, yeah, actually, did you find that at McKay's? Was that at
No,
McKay's?
that was at that weird bookshop downtown.
Okay, yeah. So that's probably new. Um, Yeah, I don't know. That it, depending on the price, that is something I probably would. But it's another one of those things where I'm really not as much into playing the role playing games now. But that doesn't mean I don't like the books, because like I've bought some first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books recently, and I love just looking through them and reading them. I mean, I might never play the game again, but I still love it, and I love actually hearing. And I watch Seth Skorkowski is a YouTuber who has a long time. He's a long time game master, and he does amazing videos on reviewing uh, role playing systems and expansions and modules and campaigns and everything. If you're ever interested in any role playing stuff, especially Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu, that kind of stuff, definitely watch it. He does amazing videos, so you should check him out. Um, but I love just listening to his videos where he's describing the campaigns and how it went with his group and everything else. So I love everything role playing adjacent, even if I'm not really into playing the games or know a lot of people. Because that's the one thing you are going to have to, um, have a pretty dedicated group of friends, because these things also take a lot of time. I mean, they just do. They usually, you're talking minimum, even for a brief, like, one shot adventure module, you're probably talking at least 4 hours, 4 hours to play. That's why one of the things I'm more interested in these days, there are solo RPGs that are popping up. So think about it as a uh, more high level choose your own adventure kind of
Hey,
thing.
some of those books that I have, at the beginning of the book, you have to use dice. You create your character, and then as you're going through the pages, you have to roll dice.
Yep.
For each of the challenges, and then like on your character sheet in the front of the book, you're supposed to take hit points and add gold and all of those things. I've usually just if I've done those books, I've just copied the character sheet from the front of the books because I don't want to use up the pages in there. And then kind of gone through the book and played. I really enjoyed that tiny little notebook that you bought a while back.
Yep.
And I'm trying to like paper something. That was a lot of fun though. That it was like a paper dungeon.
Yeah. Paper dungeon.
And
Yep.
yeah, that thing was cool, and the fact that the pencil was how you would roll, I thought that was a very
The
interesting
the
piece to it as
pencil
well.
die was genius. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
that was yeah, I actually still have one of those. I played one of them. They do some other pencil games like that. They have a pencil golf game.
I remember you
That,
sending me the
yeah,
pencil golf. That
yeah,
seemed pretty
and
cool.
I'm like, they're not terribly expensive. They're neat, and there's something that could be fun. You throw it in your bag or even your back pocket, and just something you can do whenever you have any downtime. But yeah, things like that are amazing. I'm glad to see that Jerry Anderson, they're doing, the Space 1999 role playing game. I will be honest, I am probably going to buy the hardcover edition of the RPG book, like the full book, because I just looked on the website, and the thing that's the free download is the quick start guide, which is a PDF, which is technically all you should need to get started. Um, but there is like a full hardcover that's like of the full game that's like $35. So I said I'll be buying that at some point. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like just looking at that website and like I know the first thing that popped up for me were those action figures, and they just seem so cool.
well, because they're remaking the Mattel Eagle toy from 1975 or 76. They're remaking that. They've actually already sold one edition of it that's completely sold out called the Alpha Edition. But then they're releasing a new one that hasn't been released yet called the Standard Edition. And it's the same size as the original Mattel one, so it's huge. It's about 3 feet long. And yeah, they've just released this set of extra astronauts because I think it comes with Commander Koenig, Victor Bergman, and uh, I forget it, Alan Carter, who's one of the main pilot characters. I think the Eagle itself comes with those three, and now you can get this extra set of astronauts, and they're all highly detailed, much more highly detailed than the ones from the 70s. But if it weren't the fact that the thing costs $555, I'd be buying this. This
Oh
would
yeah,
be
that was the other thing. Like those, I think those four figures are like $85.
$85, and they're only like 3 3/4 inches tall. They're not big, but I get it. I mean, they're not doing huge. It's not like back in the day where you make thousands of these and you get economies of scale going. They're probably, I don't know how many of these they make, but probably a few hundred at most. And because as much as I would love people to rediscover Space 1999, I'm guessing that's a pretty niche fandom. Um, but I'm just glad to see that they're keeping it alive. And you know, I I can't say that one of these days I won't talk my wife into letting me buy the Eagle 1976. You know,
Yeah, I mean it's
it's hard to justify a toy that costs as much as a car payment.
it is. But you know, like I mean, there's some of those things that just you know these things aren't going to be around forever, and the people that are interested in that, I mean, unless that really picks up and that just gets passed on, that'd just be one of those things that kind of just goes away one of these
Yeah,
days, and
one of
that's
these days it'll be a dead franchise. Like, everything is unfortunately going to become that way eventually. Um, we tend to think that, oh well, it's been going on for 40 years, 50 years. It's just gonna, times change. Not really. Hey, but one thing I will mention that you turned me on to, I didn't even know they were offering this, is they do some of the freebies they're offering. They are also offering they call it an audiobook. They're calling it Breakaway, which is the first episode of the series. There's a free audiobook download that you can download from the website, but it's even cooler than it sounds. It would have been cool if it was literally just the audio of the TV show, but it's not. When I went to listen to it, it's actually the audio of the I believe I don't know if Peter Pan or Power Records did the Space 1999 one, but it's the audio that would have been on the record with the book and record set. And so that's even cooler. That's even better. And I told you that I had purchased the Space 1999 comic anthology, uh, which is a full collection of all of the Space 1999 comics that were printed in a British magazine back in the day. And it's amazing that the audio from this audiobook actually matches up so well with the issue with the because the comics are all only one page. It was like a serial that would publish every, I don't know if it was weekly or monthly. I'd never heard of the magazine before, so I don't know how often it came out. I feel like it probably came out weekly because you would basically get one page in the magazine is a comic, Space 1999 comic. So after a few you'd get the whole story. Well, the breakaway uh, pages match up so well with that audiobook. I was listening to those, looking at the comic, and I was like, oh, okay, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, I just while you were chatting, I was looking up online. You know the bookend record sets, like the little comic books, but they had the 45s in the
Sure,
back.
sure.
They have some of those for Space 1999.
I knew that they
I,
did. I think you've even gotten me one of the big LP
I
Space
got you the big
99.
ones, but I've never seen these. This the one that I'm looking. I swear it looks like they're fighting Noah. I don't know. There's like Noah and an ark on the front of the cover.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's yeah. That's I. I mean, every time I turn around, I'm finding something else that I add to the list of I'm looking for this when I'm out. I've just never seen one of those in the wild.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that. Because yeah, those are great. Uh, Charlton Comics also did the Space 1999 comic books, and I am actively trying to build a collection on that because it didn't run very long, only a couple of years. The thing I love it is one of my favorite comic book artists of all time is John Byrne, and he actually, when he was just getting started in the comic industry, I have discovered quite a few of the issues of early Space 1999 comics. I have he did the art, and I was like, wow, did not know that. That's like a great little discovery.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, so yeah, and so yeah, I love the Jerry Anderson website. I definitely recommend anybody who has an interest in, even if you never saw them, definitely check them out. A lot of the shows, some of them are live action, like UFO, Space 1999, Space Precinct, but most of them are marionette shows, which I'll be the first to admit, they kind of weird me out a little bit. But as I've seen them more and more, you really have to appreciate the artistry that went into creating these really elaborate science fiction themed shows with marionettes, and it's amazing. It's just an amazing the technology and skill that went into making these things.
I would be interested to know how much he influenced the Team America movie. I mean, I know that that's a comedy and very irreverent and all of those things, but
I'm pretty sure that part of the reason Team America exists is a kind of just the way they shot the movie is a love letter to the Jerry Anderson super marionation, because it actually
yeah.
that is like a trademark title. That's literally what they called it, was this the way they filmed and did worked these marionettes. It was literally called super marionation.
Oh, okay, that's neat.
Yep. So anyone should check that out. I know there's a documentary out there too about Super Marionation, which is a history of all the Jerry Anderson properties, at least the marionette ones. They don't really touch on the live action ones very much, um, but it's definitely worth looking up. The title of it, I believe, is Super Marionation. So
Yeah.
it's definitely worth looking it up and having a watch.
Yeah, quick Google says it's inspired by the Thunderbirds.
Yep.
So, I
Inspired
mean,
by Thunderbirds. Yep.
yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, I don't know that it ever really bothers me. I remember watching shows like that when I was younger, and I thought that they were really cool. And obviously, if I like Land of the Lost and I could deal with claymation, then marionettes is really not much different. As long as they're not that creepy chick from Mr. Rogers, then I'm good to go.
I would say that was, like I said, they don't bother me, especially now. But I remember when I first saw them, especially like Thunderbirds is probably the first one I ever kind of watched, because that one actually did get TV time over here. Um, I would say they were kind of the marionettes, the way they move and everything, because they have to move in a particular way because they are marionettes on strings. It's almost the probably my first encounter with what we would now call the uncanny valley. because they do look great. They're representing human beings, but they don't move. They move in a weird way, and so there's just something in the back of our animal brain that's like, okay, there's something wrong with this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure at some point, Mister Rogers is going to be, public domain. I'm looking forward to the Lady Elaine horror movie that comes
Oh
out.
no, I am not looking forward to that at all. If there is one thing I hate more than anything, it's the fact that all these Winnie the Pooh blood and honey and the Popeye the slasher man or whatever they're calling it. I hate that with every fiber of my being. I'm like, there that is the side of pop culture that I am not enamored with. Is like I'm not against horror movies. I won't say I love horror movies. There are certain types of horror movies I like. And I've never been into slasher movies. Like even back as a kid, I was not into this Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I saw the first few of each one, but like The Thing was much more my kind of horror than that. And so it's not even gory or anything like that that throws me off. It's just a particular type of horror is kind of what I like. But I guess my point is there are certain things that I think they were created for this medium, okay? They work well in this medium. And there always seems to be some body out there that just, oh, I want to do something twisted with this character. Why?
Yeah,
Why do you?
I
Why do you?
I don't understand the law. It just like the law, like, oh, Mickey Mouse can be, people can do whatever they want to with it. Like, I don't understand how that happens. Like, I get that there's been an extended amount of time that has passed by, but it seems like if you chose something that somebody has like not looked at or talked about in the last 50 years, it would make sense. But like literally, Mickey Mouse is still probably top, like earning, like,
Well,
character.
yeah. I mean, there are a couple of YouTube channels that, like, there's one guy who does a video every, like, first of the year where he talks about what characters are becoming public domain in this year. And, some of that's interesting. And I'm not even against the public domain part of it. And I'm kind of like the fact that some things get opened up for a new interpretation. Like because Superman and Batman will be becoming public domain, at the end of the next decade. Because I think it's 100 years. I'm pretty sure the standard copyright is 100 years, so that it protects, the 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 person who created it and their immediate descendants, and then after that it's kind of becomes, now it's up for public domain and other people can start doing it. But here's the thing, not that doesn't mean, like, when Superman becomes public domain in what would it be, 2038, uh, that doesn't mean everything related to Superman becomes public domain, because Lex Luthor wasn't introduced until I think 1940. Um, the Daily Planet, I think, wasn't introduced until later. Kryptonite, as a great example, was introduced in the Superman radio show in the 40s. So all of that stuff is still going to be under copyright for a few years more. So it's not even like you have access to everything related. That's why, like, a good example of that is the guys who did the Blood and Honey movies. Like they literally, like, the reason that there's no Tigger in the first movie is because he didn't become public domain for another year or two. So they had to wait. They couldn't include that character. And so, which is just fine by me. If those movies never existed, I'd be fine with that. And as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned, they don't exist.
yeah. I
But
don't watch them or anything.
yeah.
I haven't seen
Oh,
any of
I've
them.
seen
So
people reviewing them, and people kind of went nuts over them. I'm like, again, I don't know why you want to twist this, especially something that was clearly created for children. But that's just human nature, I guess. I mean, I'm fascinated by the darker side of things. That's why one of my favorite Star Trek into my favorite thing in Star Trek is the mirror universe because I love this dichotomy of an evil version of the Federation. I love some of my favorite villains are literally the evil version of the hero. Like one of my favorite Superman villains is Bizarro because he's the imperfect duplicate, version of Superman. Um, some of my, one of the best Batman villains is one they can't even really use that much because he's too good, is Owlman, which is the Earth 3 evil version of Batman. So, I like that kind of stuff, but on another level, when you're just like, oh, let's just take this beloved property and let's just make it as gross and twisted and all of that is I can do that I can live without.
I hear you, man. Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely weird to see how some of that stuff comes about. I know Sherlock Holmes is kind of a tricky thing out there. I know he's been public domain for 2 or 3 years now, but and
He's
like all
yeah.
the yeah, he is, but it's like there's still some things that have to go through the Doyle estate to get the
Same
permission to
thing
use.
with Lord of the Rings. That's another one where there is an estate that protects this kind of thing, even though technically I'm I'm pretty sure the Lord of the Rings stuff is in public domain. Now, I don't know. That could be a little different. I don't know what the difference between general copyright is and if there's a difference for published works, like books and stuff. So, I don't know, maybe that's different. I mean, I guess could I don't I think I literally could go write my own book featuring some of the characters from that. I don't know. I'd have to look into that and see if you could do that. Like I did like a good example of another character that's going to be probably coming up for in public domain within the probably next 10 years is like the Shadow. A lot of the pulp characters from the 30s are going to start becoming public domain. I think some of them might already be public domain because there's a channel I follow called Public Domain Heroes where they're taking because I think public domain. This is where I don't understand how it works because in some things, like you said, I think as long as they're continually being published, something's being published with them, they can remain under copyright. That's where I think Mickey Mouse and all of that comes into play. But there are tons of like superheroes and villains from the golden age of comic books that have just literally nobody's published or printed anything about these characters in 50 or 60 years, and a lot of those I think have already gone into public domain. So I think things can go into public domain earlier than like the full 100 years.
Okay.
And it's as with anything related to the law, it's going to be complicated and convoluted. So, um, but I do know, like Dynamite Comics, they actually built an entire universe around public domain superheroes a few years back that was actually really good. And so I might be wrong. I think the Shadow may already be in public domain. But see, the interesting thing I see about things going into public domain are the fact that, like, if you're a creator and you want to start and you want to do, like, let's say when Superman goes into public domain. Now, I'm sure DC is going to, and whoever owns Warner Brothers at that time is going to spend a ton of money to protect. Like, there are parts of Superman that you are not going to be able to use. Like, you're not going to be able to use the standard S shield on his chest. I can guarantee you that because that will be copyrighted by them until the end of time. So you're going to have to. It's like you can use the concept of Superman and maybe even the name Superman, but I don't even know if that's true because I'm pretty sure they probably trademarked the name Superman. So then that convolutes things even more. So I doubt you could just start publishing your Superman comic in 2038 and DC's going to be okay with it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's something that's interesting to look at and think about. Um, and
But
I mean,
what I was
again,
saying is that's what I would be interested in seeing. Like if you were a creator and you were like, okay, Superman is now in public domain. Now I can't necessarily use everything related to him, but I'm going to create a new take on the character, uh, and by that I mean just so I can put out there, that doesn't mean go out and do a sleazy low budget horror movie either. I'm saying,
yeah.
yeah, what if I want to create a new take on the character using the all the pieces that Siegel and Schuster put into place that I can use these in my own creation, but I'm essentially still creating a new Superman. I'm just using the thing because in a way I'm limited by what I can actually use. So that's the kind of stuff I would be interested in seeing people do. And I'll be honest, I don't see a lot of people doing that. Although back to the Sherlock Holmes thing, there have been Sherlock Holmes novels by authors
Oh
that have
yeah.
been coming out, and some of them have been really good. I read one a few years ago that was another kind of take on Sherlock Holmes tracking down Jack the Ripper. Um, I believe it was called Blood and Smoke. I believe was the name. I had to double check that because that's actually I say a few years ago. It's probably been 10 years at this point since that book came out, and it was really good because the author writing it, you could tell that they actually had studied the Jack the Ripper case too, but they also they understood the Sherlock Holmes and Watson's characters really well. The story just fit together so well. If you've never read it, you should definitely take a look at it.
Yeah. So I mean, I know a little while back we had watched this fan made Superman cartoon on YouTube that was actually really awesome.
Hmm.
And he was like, I think he was like fighting a robot.
Yep.
Um,
He
Again,
also did another one with Bizarro in it later
okay.
on.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that's not. I mean, there's obviously we haven't hit public domain. People are still making things like that. So it's just, and I mean, I don't think anything ever happened to that guy because obviously it didn't because he ended up making another one with Bizarro. So I mean, you just said Brainiac or Bizarro?
It was Bizarro because
Okay,
the fun part of it was in the Superman one. Um, the animation style is amazing for one thing.
that's
It's
yeah,
very retro to the almost like uh, the 1940s Superman cartoons, but um, there's a Superman has a theme whenever he's on the camera, and they're both short. I think both are less than 5 minutes long, and that I think that's another thing because then that counts as like a fan film, and that all just depends on how lenient the companies are with it. But like companies like Disney typically have not been lenient about fan productions and will send their army of lawyers after you. Um, Star Trek was kind of open to that, and then they tried to ratchet down on fan films, and although they still exist, and I think they reached a settlement with a lot of the fan creators, and now they're forced to create as long as it's less than 15 minutes per episode long. They kind of are okay with it. Um, Even though I would argue they should be hiring some of these people because these people are
that's what I
doing
was getting
better
at.
Star Trek than they're doing.
Yeah, that's the point that I was getting to is that
Yeah.
some of these things that are made are better. I mean, every time we send each other something about Star Wars, we're like they should start letting some of these fans make the movies.
Yeah. Well, that Superman cartoon that we're talking about, let's see, I was trying to find it. Yeah, it's by a guy named Rob Pratt. He did. There's one episode called Superman Classic, and then there is a Bizarro, and the attention to detail in each one of those. The animation style is beautiful. The music is beautiful. It's one of those things where like I hope this guy got a job. I mean, if I had been an executive at Warner Brothers and seen this, not only do I not want to sue this guy out of existence, how do we get this guy to do Superman cartoons for us?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's
I would definitely watch these cartoons, and I know there are other people who would too. And his attention to detail was so good because in the Superman classic, Superman, as he's fighting that giant robot, um, he has a theme tune. Like in the old cartoons and in everything, whenever he would show up, it was even very similar to the old cartoons. But when in the Bizarro one, anytime Bizarro showed up on screen, you would the theme sounded weird, and then in the interview in the little behind the scenes thing that he did video that he did, he actually says that when Bizarro's on screen, it's the Superman theme, but they're playing it backwards.
oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm like, nice. And your brain kind of picks up on that on a subconscious level.
I like that. I like that. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
but yeah, just as a word to anyone out there, go check out Rob Pratt's channel. He's still posting. It looks like he hasn't posted anything new for about 4 years, so I hope that means that he's doing work somewhere.
I hope so because I think it deserves it.
Me too.
Pretty awesome stuff. That's for certain.
So I think our next thing, I know we've been teasing it a little bit, is that we are gonna try to start doing some episodes of the podcast where we're going to be discussing some of our favorite shows that the other one has not seen before. And I think that you're going to be watching Space 1999, at least maybe the first episode or two this coming week. And because we're kind of both trapped in our houses, so we haven't been able to do a DVD exchange. Luckily, I think we have found Space 1999 episodes online that you can watch. I
Yeah,
don't.
Kindred's on there. I'll get it to you.
Oh, Kindred is okay. Well, then
Yeah,
send them to
they're
me.
on there.
All right, well, send them to me. I will definitely be watching those. And I would say starting next week, we're probably going to do some roundtable discussions, reviews. I'm hoping you're going to love Space 1999 as much as I do, but that's part of the fun. You might not, and that's going to be fun too.
Yeah, I'm hoping you enjoy the Kindred as well. I know that I enjoyed those card games. I thought they were a lot of fun. I think I still have all those cards, by the way. I should bring those over one day. See the
Hmm.
Kindred cards. But yeah, I just it's a toss up, man. You just don't know what somebody might like and somebody might not like. I remember you telling me that people didn't like Space 1999 because it was a little too cerebral.
Well, I would say that is what I wouldn't say that's what the audience thought. As always, that's what the studio thought.
Okay.
And let's not forget the fact that when the original Star Trek pilot, The Cage, was first shown to the studio executives for Paramount, they passed on it. Now they did give them an opportunity to make another pilot, but let's never forget the reason they passed on Star Trek was they thought it was too brainy for the
Yeah.
average audience. And I'm like, okay, I'm never one to overestimate the intelligence of the general public, but I also don't underestimate it either. And this whole idea that, oh, this is, maybe it's becoming more true today because we're all stuck to our phones all the time, but, you know, the idea that, oh, this is too brainy for, and so that's why when Star Trek, the next pilot that they did for Star Trek, I would still say it wasn't your typical just mindless sci-fi. But I mean, eventually, what the executives wanted was they literally said it. They wanted wagon train in space. They wanted a western in space, and to a degree, they got it. But I think Gene Roddenberry was still able to get his vision through. And Space 1999 is the same thing. The first season especially, it is cerebral. There are some episodes. It is not your standard sci-fi shoot 'em up. There are some action heavy episodes, but a lot of episodes are a lot of thinking and talking, and they're solving problems with their brains. They're not punching somebody out. Um, and those were The show was actually very popular at the end of its first season, but the studio, again, once again, they actually had a show that was working. And once again, they're like, yeah, but A, it costs too much to make, so we're going to cut the budget. Okay, well, that never backfires. So for season two, they cut the budget, and they were like, they wanted it, and so this you're going to notice whenever you get to season two. Season two, even though there are some good episodes in there, season two is much more just um, your standard sci-fi show than season one. Season one is something special and different, and that's why I still love it to this day. And I'll still argue it has the best, funkiest TV theme song ever.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that. That
Yeah,
sounds fun.
yeah, yeah.
That
Because it
sounds a lot of
starts
fun.
off real orchestral, and then it just you're gonna notice there's a moment during the opening credits. There's like a big explosion, and it just goes into the most funky 70s disco theme ever, and you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to top the Doctor Who theme for me, but I'm looking forward to
Oh,
hearing
the
that one.
Doctor Who theme, that's a timeless classic right there.
That's my favorite,
I
man. Like,
I love. Have you ever watched the YouTube videos, the BBC at the proms, where they do these? I don't know what prom is like in the UK, but it seems to be a bigger deal there than it is even here because the BBC, I don't know if they still do it, but there used to be these big concerts that the BBC would put on with all these people for their prom wearing their tuxes and dresses. But there's a BBC at the proms that where they basically have a huge orchestra doing the Doctor Who theme, and it is epic. It is epic.
I'd like to hear that. That's for certain.
Because I agree with you. The Doctor Who theme is, I mean, you hear that, you're right in there.
Oh yeah, I would hear that. I would be in another room playing with toys or something, and I would hear that, and I'm like
Oh yeah,
bolting to the living
oh yeah.
room.
It's not even the theme. That sound that plays
Yeah,
that
I know.
thing leading into it, man. Yeah, I'm with you, man. As soon as you hear that, you're like, it's Doctor Who time.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. It's pretty awesome. I love the fact that it's on all the audiobooks that I have that Tom Baker's done. I really do enjoy listening to that. I need to see if Pertwee, is that how you say his name? Pertwee?
Yeah, John Pertwee.
Yeah, did he do any audiobooks? Because I don't know that I've ever seen him on there. I see a lot of like Matt Smith and all of and then
I
obviously
don't.
Tom Baker did like a million.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I don't think he ever did any of the like
Huh.
voiceovers. A lot of the like there. I don't think there are any from Patrick Troughton, who was the second Doctor. Um, I know that the guy who played uh, the Eighth Doctor in that Fox T. Have you ever seen that? By the way, we've never discussed that. Have you ever seen the Fox TV pilot, or it's actually a TV movie, but it was supposed to act as a pilot for a possible continuation of Doctor Who on American TV after the show got canceled in the UK in '89. And so they did like a 2 hour Doctor Who special, and it actually has um, Sylvester McCoy's Doctor getting killed and actually regenerating into Paul McCann's Eighth Doctor.
Okay.
And then that Doctor, I know he has done a lot of audiobooks because he only was the Doctor in that one movie. And so then, but he's actually been the Doctor in a lot of radio adventures and stuff that they've released as audiobooks. And I know he does do the voiceovers for those a lot. So if you've never seen that, we need to find copies of that because we definitely need to do an episode talking about that. Yeah, because the Master also regenerates in that, and um, well, I don't know if he regenerates or because that's actually a point where the Master actually had no regenerations left. So he's like this undead Time Lord, and he actually takes over an ambulance driver's body and to use his body, and it's Julia, what's her name? The actress, Pretty Woman, Julia
Roberts?
Roberts. It's her brother, Eric Roberts.
Oh, okay.
Eric Roberts is the master in that. It
Okay.
was done for Fox TV. But if you've never seen that, we definitely got to find a copy of that,
All right.
watch it, and talk about it.
Yeah, Eric Roberts did a fan-made Gambit movie that I thought was pretty awesome.
Oh, I've never seen that. I'll have to check
It's
it
on
out.
it's on YouTube. It's fairly short, but it's just weird to see a really big actor in an X-Men movie that's all fan-made. It's not bad. I mean it's fan made, so they don't have all the special effects money and everything. So there's some parts that are kind of like, but it's not bad. I mean, it's better than some of the X-Men movies that have come out. That's for sure.
He played a great mob boss in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, he's always good in whatever he's in.
He's amazing. He's actually in one of my favorite episodes of King of Queens. So go look that up, where he plays this really crazy paintballer.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, we've hit our time, man. I mean, we can always keep talking, but I don't want to overdo our welcome. If anybody's in and listen, I do appreciate all the people that are listening, giving feedback and those kind of things. We appreciate that for certain. And always just let us know what you want to hear, because I mean that's kind of what we're here for.
I'm really looking forward to next week's episode with us. We're gonna do we can, like I said, I'll watch some episodes of Kindred this week. You watch some Space 1999. We'll do some reviews and compare notes on what we like and what we didn't like, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. There are lots of TV shows and movies and things that I think are going to be a lot of fun because, like I said, the 1990s Fox Doctor Who movie I think would be a lot of fun. That's like an endless well we can keep going back to as long as people are listening. So I'm hoping that the weather allows us to get out of our houses within the next month or so.
Oh, I know, man.
Because they're already calling for the next possible winter weather coming in the middle of this coming week. So it may be another week or so before I can get out and actually go anywhere.
I know, I'm the same thing, man. We got somewhere between 8 and 10 inches of snow, and
yeah. I wouldn't doubt. Like I said, I wouldn't doubt we hit 10 inches before it's all said and done.
Yeah, that'll be terrible. And then being out of school all week is going to be a whole other headache, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us on the RetroCult Podcast, and we'll see you again next time. All right, Mac, take it easy, man.
You too. Talk to everyone later. Bye.
Later.